Welcome to JGTV, and today I'm going to highlight the best and worst songs from each Michael Jackson album. And unlike everyone who tends to start off at Off the Wall, I'm actually going to start off with Got to Be There and ending with Invincible. I'm not going to highlight any posthumous albums as I don't listen to those albums nor review posthumous albums. And let me also put this out. This is 1000% subjective. Please don't get upset if one of your favorites lands on the worst or one of your least favorites lands on the best. Also, if I call a song the worst on the album, doesn't mean that the song is bad, and I am not stressing that enough. Got all that? Good. So let's get into it. Before we begin, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It costs free $99, it helps out the channel, and you'll have zero regrets doing it. So without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Let me say this, majority of these early Motown albums don't have a concept or theme. Motown likely would say, record 20 songs and of those 20, we'll pick 10 that have the most hit potential. So with that, I'm going to choose I Wanna Be Where You Are as the best song from Got to Be There. But there wasn't really much I could say about this song. Michael's youthful energy was on point. And like with I Wanna Be Where You Are, I don't have much to say about Wings of Love. I just felt like of all the songs from his debut solo album, this was the weakest to me. I know fans would like to point out Maria or his cover of Love Is Here But Now You're Gone, but I actually find myself enjoying those songs, where Wings of Love just never clicked for me. It happens.
Been the two of us need look no more.
Nothing's beating the title track, but for some context, Ben was made for a horror movie of the same name, and this song was actually intended for Donny Osmond, but he was unable to record as he was on the road. So the song was handed to Michael Jackson, and he delivers a masterful performance vocally as the song became his first solo #1 hit. And it's only right that Ben takes this spot, even if the movie itself is not good. Honestly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this song. It's a fine enough song. The problem is that it already appeared on Got to Be There. I guess Motown lost track on what songs they already included and what songs they haven't. That had to be the case here. Should have been left off this album since it already appeared on his previous album.
With a child's heart.
This song was originally sung by Stevie Wonder as it was part of his Uptight album of 1965. Michael took the song and ran with it. Mike's version slowed the tempo and is more piano led, not to mention having his brothers on backing harmonies helped out. With the Child's Heart is one of Michael Jackson's most underrated cuts in his entire catalog.
Morning glow, morning glow.
This is in similar territory of Wings of Love. I just had a hard time connecting with this one. I could tell Michael was struggling vocally adjusting to his song. There was also a slowdown somewhere in the middle of the song that feels off. Again, the song isn't terrible, just not one of his best.
One day in your life, you'll remember.
The final Motown album, and this is an album I actually enjoyed. And for the best song, it actually came down between Dear Michael and One Day in Your Life, and I settled with One Day in Your Life. We get to hear Michael in a semi-mature voice in this slow burn. But another fun fact was that this song was re-released in 1981 after Motown released a compilation album with the same name. Fans call this his most underrated pre-off-the-wall deep cuts, and I actually can agree with them on that.
I'll always come home, I'll come home to you.
This one's a stretch, but I feel like vocally this song doesn't belong on this album. I wish Motown had him record with his mature vocals, as this one sounded like it should have been on Music and Me. His brother's harmonies sound superb, but the fact that this was an album closer makes this even more disappointing. Now things get interesting. Off the Wall is a classic with many bops to choose, but for me, the best is Rock With You. Michael getting lost in his dance with an infectious chorus, groove, and production. What more can I say? This is a timeless classic and one of his best in his catalog.
It's the falling in love that's making me high. It's the...
A lot of people say Girlfriend is the worst song on Off the Wall. However, I tend to enjoy him whenever he collabs with Paul McCartney. So with Michael, it's not going to be Girlfriend. I have to choose It's the Falling in Love, and I think the biggest problem is the chorus. It's the falling in love that's making me high. It's being in love makes me cry, cry, cry. The chorus is just weak sauce, and this is one I often skip.
If they say why, tell them that it's you.
Thriller, the best-selling album of all time, and with good reason. And we have so many options here, and while Beat It and Billie Jean were easy picks for this spot, I'm actually going to go with Human Nature, the slow burn portion of the album where Michael writes in comparison to New York. And fun fact, this song was actually supposed to be a Toto song, and you could tell as one of their band members wrote it. Toto thought the song was too soft for them at the time, so Quincy Jones got his hands on it and approached Michael into doing the song, and it was one of the last approved for Thriller. What if Carousel made the album and not Human Nature? But overall, this is a great song. Like I said with Girlfriend, I actually joined when Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson teamed up, which is why The Girl Is Mine is not getting this spot. Yes, it was a weak single, but it's not a bad song. But to me, Baby Be Mine deserved this top spot. This is another example of a song getting lost with the superiors on the album, but that really shouldn't be the case because this was the second track of Thriller. So why is this song forgettable? Because this and Lady of My Life were the only two songs not released as singles, and the latter is more talked about than this. But all in all, Baby Be Mine is the worst song on Thriller because of its lack of memorability. And trust me, I was tempted to give this to the title track as the video is 50 times better than this song. My favorite Michael Jackson album. I shouldn't have said that. But I had option with this one, and in any given day, my pick would change. But I'm going to choose Dirty Diana, the hard rock anthem of this album. Even though the lyrics are questionable, this song has an edge to it that we haven't seen from Michael. Dirty Diana has always kicked ass, and I am honored to call this my favorite song from Bad. But if you ask me tomorrow, that pick could change. That's how good Bad is. Again, there weren't many options for this, because the only song that wasn't released as a single was Just Good Friends, a duet with Stevie Wonder. And to be honest, while I understand why it wasn't a single, I enjoyed that song quite a bit. I also fancied Liberian Girl before getting ruined by a TikTok trend. So with that, I need y'all to pull up your pitchforks and your dislikes. The worst song on this album is actually the title track. And the only reason I choose this is my fault. Because growing up, Bad was always there, but when I discovered the fantastic album cuts this album had, I just left Bad in the dust. Bad is not its namesake, there are just better songs on this album. Just saying. We say farewell to Quincy Jones as Michael Jackson experiments with other producers, and that's a decision that led to mixed results and questionable choices on this album. For one, Will You Be There and Heal the World was going to be my choices, but those two songs were tainted by unnecessarily long intros. So with that, this might be the boring route, but I'm going with Black or White. The Slash riff was great, the lyrics is how Michael doesn't want to discriminate when it comes to his baby. It's an iconic song that might have influenced this choice, but it is a good one. I'll stick up for it. In the Closet is one of Michael Jackson's weakest singles of all time. However, once again, get those pitchforks out because I'm actually giving this to Dangerous, the title track. So let me see. The unnecessarily long intro, Michael opted to whisper where I could barely hear him. This song was meant to be built for the stage and not as a listening price. And the crazy thing about it, the song is actually kind of decent outside of those issues. It's one of those songs that work and don't work at the same time.
Smile, though your heart is aching.
His Story was a bizarre album, but we do get some good options like You Are Not Alone, Strangers in Moscow, Earth Songs. They're all classics, but I'm going to choose the closing song in Smile. And the big reason why I'm giving it the best because it's Michael's favorite song. This does have an emotional attachment towards him. Originally covered by Charlie Chaplin, a lot of you know this song as Jermaine sang it at his brother's memorial. In all, this will be Michael's pick for the best song off His Story, and it's hard to oppose.
Somebody killed little Susie, the girl with...
I guess it's Little Susie, but listening to this, I understand why. And the problem I have with this song was the same problem I have with majority of Dangerous. it gets dragged by an unnecessarily long intro, and this might be the most egregious example yet. The song clocks in around 6 minutes and 13 seconds, but we don't hear Michael's voice until the 3-minute mark. It's another song that was built for the live stage, and while I appreciate the orchestra vibe, it's too much opening filler. The final Michael Jackson album, and it's easily You Rock My World, but there's not much I could say or add to it, but I will mention that the video does overshadow the song a little bit. I feel like I have to watch the video to listen to this particular song, but that was the thought I had when I was younger. Older, I realized that this was a fun listening experience, a breath of fresh air when it came to late Michael Jackson tunes.
For all the lost children, this one's for all.
I was going to say 2000 watts, but once I discovered that Michael had a deep voice, it made me appreciate this song a little more. Where Lost Children is an example of the attentions being fine, the execution did not translate, especially when these lost children come in on the third chorus. Also, details of these lost children leave the song kind of ambiguous. It's just Michael wanting to pray for the lost children who doesn't have the best arrangements for them. And the crazy thing about it is that this is Michael Jackson's favorite song from this album, but unlike Smile, it didn't put a smile on my face. And that concludes this video. I know opinions on this one will be strong, but I do want to hear if I platformed the right songs or did I get it wrong in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, as majority of you watching this video aren't subscribed. And also throw a like to help out the algorithm. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. The following was a JGTV production. Thanks for watching.